Hi, guys. So happy to be back out here. It's been a while since I've been out here. So I am really happy to be here with you guys again. And today, what we're going to talk about is how we can use Chinese medicine to, feel normal again, to be comfortable in our own skin. I think today, probably more so than any other time, we feel uncomfortable in our own skin a lot. And you've heard me talk about this so many times that you can probably recite this without me saying it. But for Chinese medicine, disease starts at the Tao, it moves to the spirit, then to the emotions, then to the mental, and then to the physical. So the physical is the last expression. And if you think about that, let me think of an example here. When all of us, when we come into this world, we're a blank slate. And then things happen, life in our family happens. There's behaviors that kind of bug us, but they don't bug us at first. So when they first happen, they're just kind of impacting our spirit. But after some time, we start to have an emotional reaction to it. Then they're starting to bug us. And then we start thinking about it. In fact, we think that other people are doing these same actions, and a lot of times they're not. We create a world of every one of our hurts and we live within it. And then finally, the stress, whatever stress it is that we've caused ourselves, becomes an actual physical disease. And we've heard enough about personalities and disease that we know that that really does happen. And probably the first one that comes to mind, if for my generation, was the type A personality, the one who's working all the time and never takes a break and is prone to heart attacks. So we have this. We already have a basis on how this really works, and we have some research that says, yes, our personality really does create disease. And in Chinese medicine, they just take it two or three steps further and really believe that it really impacts us and really does create disease. So, one of the things I always say is people go, well, I've had clients ask me, why does Chinese medicine work when nothing else does? And it's not that nothing else has worked. It's that you've finally got here, and not everyone is going to want to do this because in order to use Chinese medicine, you've got to be ready and willing to look at yourself. And for a lot of us, that's okay. And then for some of us, that's not okay. So, not everybody is going to want to do this. But if we look at this and see how Chinese medicine fits in Chinese medicine, physical disease is the last symptom. And Western medicine is awesome at treating a physical expression. Now, how they treat it though is a little bit different than how we treat it in Chinese medicine, because in Western medicine, you're given medication or surgery. But let me just stay focused on the medication aspect of it. You're given medication to suppress that symptom, not to fix it, not to make it better, but to stop it from expressing itself. So, everything that you've done to create this disease is still happening in your body, just the discomfort you're not feeling anymore. And what's the most common one we know about that? That's going to be pain, right? And the one medication that I can point to, simply because in my state, in Washington state, they've done so much to try and address the opioid crisis, is the Oxy. And so what Oxy does is it stops your brain from feeling that excruciating pain. And that can be a good thing, right? Because if you can't find anything else to resolve it, sometimes painkillers are the best option. Here's the deal is I have people come into the clinic, and when I first started out practicing, I was like, okay, I'll try and fix you and see if I can. But I would have people come in who've been on Oxy for 3 to 5 years. And what did we just say? Western medicine, it suppresses the symptom so that you can keep on going on doing whatever it is you're doing. And that's exactly what the painkiller does, is it suppresses a symptom of pain so the person goes on and keeps on doing what they've been doing. And here's the problem with that, right? Is pain, the sensation of pain is a warning sign. It's a warning sign. So it's a warning sign which says, "Hey, I need you to be aware of me. You need to do something else. I need care." And Oxy takes that whole sensation away, takes your early warning sign away, and you keep on doing what you're doing. You keep on acting as if your body doesn't need care. And here's where the problem comes is they come in the clinic and they ask me to help them. And let's say the pain scale is 1 to 10, and you went in with a 10 and they gave you Oxy so that you could get rid of the pain. And 5 years later, now you're taking 3 times the dose of Oxy as you did when you first started, and you're still getting breakthrough pain. And now your doctor doesn't want to prescribe you a higher dose. Now, what do you think that level of pain really is? I mean, if I took you off all that Oxy and let's say you didn't like crash, burn, and die from the detox, um, if all that Oxy was taken away, what do you think their level of pain would be? If they couldn't really function before they started Oxy, and now 5 years later, they're tripling their dose. If you took them off of that, what do you think would happen? They pretty much can't function at all. They're in excruciating pain. And so, if the regular pain scale is 1 to 10, I always say, okay, let's say the regular pain scale is 1 to 10. And what do you think your pain is right now? Probably a 15. So, even if I could reduce your pain by half, you'd still be at a 10. And what good would that do you? Because you still wouldn't be able to do anything. In regular pain scales, this 1 to 10 pain scale, they say 10 is I can't get out of bed, I can't do anything. And so if your pain's a 15 and you're able to get it down to reduce it by a third and get it down to 10, it doesn't matter, right? You're still in excruciating pain. So today, what ends up happening is I always kind of do a quiz on, how long you've been doing your pain meds, because there's no winning in that solution. I cannot reduce your pain enough that you'd feel any better. So Western medicine works great on the physical symptoms. How it works, though, is by eliminating the symptoms. So you can't tell it's happening. It's still happening. You're still doing everything that caused it, but you can't tell it anymore. So that's Western medicine. And then you have counseling, and counseling is great because a lot of times we need validation that this hideous thing happened, right? And we don't really believe it either. That's why we sit there. That's why we're in counseling for so long. 2 years later, we're like, oh, yeah, you're right. It did really happen. Thank you so much. But growing up, you've got 20 years of people telling you it didn't happen by people that you love and people who part of your identity comes from them. It's really hard to really believe that some of these things really happened. So counseling is really, really good at helping you verify, helping you validate that these things happen. It's really good at helping you learn how to reassess what's happening to you in the real world and, pick up some tool sets to help you when you start start falling into your pattern, whatever your pattern is, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you believe. It's really good to help you figure out some tool sets to pull yourself out of that. And it's really good at helping you believe that that really did happen. And here's the problem. Even after doing all of that, everyone that's come in, that's gone through the counseling aspect of it, has said to me, I still feel the same way. Great. Now I can change my behaviors. I'm older too, so I have better management of myself. That's always a good thing. Yet I still think the same way. I still go tripping off into whatever it is that, I trip off into, whether it's trust issues, whether it's, uh, feeling invalidated, whether you feel like you're being betrayed, whether you feel like you're not good enough, whether, whatever it is that you feel, whatever it is that the story is that you tell yourself, going through counseling, taking medications, none of it changed that story. And that's where Chinese medicine comes in. And that's why Chinese medicine is such a huge benefit, because it can change that story. Wow, huh? Who would have thought? Really? Yeah, it can change the story. It works on the physical, it works on the mental, but what's really unique is it also works on the emotional. It works on the spiritual. It works on you and your core identity in a really, really neat way. And it helps you find your way back to normal again. And I think the one thing that's really amazing is how easy it can be. It takes time, but it's so much easier than taking medications. It's so much easier than counseling. And it changes your outlook on life. It changes how you even handle situations. So, when we tell ourselves our story, whatever that story is, we start reacting to whatever the story is in our head. And, trying to change that and trying to change our reaction is really, really hard, because it's a reaction. We're acting out against something, some threat that we see coming in. And, if you were a deer in the forest, training yourself not to react to and run away from some threat that you're seeing, that probably wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. And I think maybe that's why it's so hard to retrain ourselves to do something different. Yet, Chinese medicine doesn't ask to train you to do something different. What it does is it allows you to. So let me talk about the concept of spirit in Chinese medicine, because here we are in the West, and it's the 20th century, and we have an idea of what spirit is because we're a religious community, and in Chinese medicine, spirit is not that. So spirit this is a concept from Taoism. And I really think Taoism is really kind of neat and amazing. And there's this concept that the world that, and we'll just say your world, your body, when it is in balance, you flow like a river. And when you're out of balance, then you're dammed up, or the river dries out, or or it floods. There's so many things that can happen. But when you're in balance, this concept of being able to flow like a river, to be very accepting of things around you, you can be accepting of things around you because it's not about you anymore. And so in Chinese medicine, the concept of spirit is about balance. And it's about balance of the 5 yin organs. So if you look at my video, I have another video out here that's really good about explaining the 5 yin organs. It's called the 5 lights of illumination. That gives you some insight into what these five elements are, or these 5 organs are, how they relate to the elements, how they relate to balance. And if you look at that video, that gives you an idea of what it means to be in balance from a Chinese medical perspective, and that gives you an idea of what it means to have spirit, or spirit in Chinese medicine. And so Chinese medicine allows you to come back into balance without any fanfare, without any fighting on your part. And whereas medicines allow you to stay out of balance and eliminate the symptom, counseling allows you to stay out of balance and tries to allow you to talk yourself through it. Chinese medicine says, I'm going to help you get back in balance, because when you're back in balance, you're able to accept the world as it is, not how whatever trauma it was has you seeing it. It allows you to accept the world as it is, to see the world as it is. And when that happens, when you're seeing the world not as every one of our traumas, and every one of the traumas that you experienced as a child or as an adult, when you're seeing the world without that layer on top of you, the world becomes a very different place. And your reactions change naturally, because you're no longer seeing the world as your trauma. Now, I'm hoping that makes sense, but I wanted to kind of give you a brief outline of what it means to work with Chinese medicine to change your world. And there's a few different processes that you go through to change your world and to bring yourself back into balance. But let me tell you, it's super amazing. It's it's such a release, and it's so relieving not to have to live the world out of the eyes of yourself as a 5-year-old, or as a 12-year-old, or as an 18-year-old, but as a person right here, right now. And that also allows you to open up the world and to live the world and to do the things that you wanted to do, that you knew you could do, but for some reason you never did them. It allows you to live this life probably to your fullest destiny. Okay, so I hope that helps you a little bit to understand what's happening with Chinese medicine. And until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.